say, to give you a little bit more of a nuanced answer to what you were saying, here's what grinds my gears. What grinds my gears is not people not consuming, the main content and consuming the surrounding content. I feel like that's become human nature at this point. People just don't really have much time. They'll see like the surrounding content, whatever, and then they'll just move on with their day. That doesn't really bother me. What bothers me is the people that make an opinion, that form an opinion without having seen the actual thing, or having seen only parts of the thing out of context. That's what bothers me, because they're making an opinion that's not based off of a fully informed like research kind of thing.
But guess what? That's like life now.
Yeah.
We are just making opinions based on snippets that we see in the
surrounding
world.
content.
That's how we make opinions today. We make opinions on very little information because we're just like, we're scrolling through Twitter, we're tapping through ice stories, and then we're like forming an opinion on something. And when somebody comes up to you and we're like, hey, what did you think of that thing? You're like, you don't say, I don't know, or he's like, I don't have enough information. You just make an opinion.
Because it's almost like if you don't know or you don't have an opinion, then you're out of the know. And then you want to be involved in the conversation. You want to feel like you know what's going on, and you want to be able to talk about it so that you feel like you're a part of the club.
100%.
Kind of thing.
So as a creator, isn't it really important then that you have to recognize that more people will see the outside thing or some sort of buzz around it than the actual product? I've known this for my entire career. Whenever we would do projects like at Deloitte, I would always try to put a spin on it to be like, oh, like we're working with drones, or we're doing something with AI, and like even though it was like a small part of the project, just so that people like across the firm and outside the firm would be like, oh my God, like look at this, or look what's happening with this thing. It's like always putting a viral spin to everything that you're trying to do in order for people to talk about it.
Yeah. I would say this is just like a part of the internet at this point, because everything's on the internet, so people are just going to see the surrounding content. But even to go further back, before the internet, when we were just living in villages and stuff, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? Oh, whatever. And then you don't know the full story.
Exactly.
And then, it's just gossip.
It's
gossip. The gossip, and then...
And it could be lying. I'll give you an example of something which was really interesting. I was watching the Nelk Boys podcast with Aiden Ross and Rice Gum.
Okay.
And they were talking about streaming, and Aiden Ross was saying that he actually makes more money than LeBron James, which...
Bro,
that his deal that he got is more than LeBron James. Now, as somebody watching that, like, first of all, I saw that actually get shared like a whole bunch of different places.
See, he's saying that just because he wants to say it, because he knows it's going to create buzz, whether it's true or not. Who's going to be able to verify that? I can't. I can't. I don't believe him, to be honest with you, because he's a very trolly character, Aiden Ross. That's just his character.
But here you go. But it created buzz.
It does, and now we're talking about it.
Yeah. And so in that's something like I'm using that as an example to say, hey, by the way, like Aiden Ross said this on the particular podcast, and then people just talk about it. And I don't even think they went in and actually listened to the whole podcast, because you know what I did? I went and I listened to the whole podcast.
Damn.
And what he says later, he's like, oh, what's it? He talked to he talked to Kyle from Nelk Boys and the other guy, Steiny. Like, what's an amount that you're going to be comfortable with? And I think Aiden Ross said, I think $50 million. But I'm like, you just said before that you're making more than LeBron. LeBron makes more than 50 million. So anyway, you know what I mean? Like, so if you do the math, but nobody's gonna see that. Nobody actually goes into the entire podcast and takes a look at it. But
oh yeah, for sure.
But what do you guys think of these streamers, by the way? As a side note, making this kind of bag. Not every streamer, obviously,
of course,
get that, but there's like a lot of streamers out there. Twitch streamers, like I think Rumble's getting into the game. Kick, all these guys getting in the game, getting a bag. I never, and I still to this day, the idea of watching somebody else like play a game or just watching somebody sit there for hours, to me it's an interesting behavior that I have not understood yet. But I appreciate it. I just don't understand yet.
Yeah. So live streaming is a completely different genre is too small of a word. It's like a whole universe in its own right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I completely understand watching Let's Plays. I used to do it very often, a while back. And, it craves, it scratches a certain itch for me. And sometimes there's a game that you don't want to play, but you want to see how it's like. For example, I used to do it all the time with scary games. I'm too afraid to play a scary game, but I'll watch somebody else play a scary game because A, again, I'm too scared, but B, it's funny to see them react to a scary part, and then it makes me feel a little bit better about myself because then I get like a moment of levity, if that's the word. I get like a laugh out of it, which is entertaining for me. But yeah, like live streaming, it's its own thing, and it's kind of its own religion. And if you really, as soon as you skip out on like a day of live streaming or something like that, then
it's like you
that's it. People will move on. And
interesting.
Yeah, so it is its own thing for sure, and it's crazy. Do you know that FouseyTube has been live for like 2 weeks straight, nonstop? All day. Yeah, he's like been doing his own crazy thing right now where he's literally
Even
just
when he's sleeping.
He connects his phone, and it's just live all the time. He's been live probably now maybe 15, 16 days
like
straight.
He's been working out, he's been sleeping.
Just doing everything. Yeah, he'll stream literally everything while he's sleeping. And people and I've seen while he's taking a nap and people are commenting. It is on Twitch.
So this is beautiful because this was the origin of Twitch.
Yeah.
So Justin Kan, the origin of Twitch was that he would have a camera on him at all times.
Yeah, like the Truman Show.
Wow, it's like
it's like the Truman Show, 100%. And it's crazy. Like I saw him.
So is he getting buzz? Is he getting some like?
He's for sure getting some buzz because he's been very public on talking about how I'm number blah 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 now, and then the next day like I'm number blah blah blah, and he's been growing slowly in whatever metric he's saying. Like whether he's like I think now he's like the top 14 English speaking something like that, like Twitch channel or something like that. But yeah, he's been growing for sure. But yeah, like it is an interesting landscape because like I was watching his stream, right? And there was this moment
where he go to the bathroom, was he eating salad.
So there was one moment where he was trying to get in line to get a coffee or something. There's a place somewhere in LA, and he was getting a coffee, and he was trying to see if he can cut in the line and like maybe pay somebody to like, hey, I'm gonna pay you to get this drink to blah blah blah. And it was just so interesting trying to see him do that. And then because every person that he would talk to becomes a character in this show. And so then he's like, oh, look at these girls, they didn't want to do it. Oh, look at this guy, he didn't want to do it. Oh, look at whatever. And then eventually he got rejected by everybody. And then he goes and starts going like, what's wrong with society? And you used to be able to talk to people. And then, everybody in the chat is either like roasting him or like agreeing with him. And it's a microcosm that definitely the broader audience of people on the internet don't understand.
I'm interested. You sold me, man.
Yeah.
Maybe my opinion will change. Get me on FouseyTube's live stream.
If, let's say, in that specific example, if he wasn't streaming, would he still do that? Like, would he still like, oh, let me pay you money to
yeah, I don't think so. He's actually open.
It's like he's prompting himself with
to put him on a performance.
with things so he can put himself in situations where it can become entertainment.
He says on stream, he's like, guys, I'm driving around right now, but I got to go film some content for you. So he'll say it openly.
Yeah.
Like he's going to do this to like become more interesting. And, I don't blame him because if your life is I'm sitting at home all day and you're not doing anything interesting, then it's like, okay, people aren't going to tune in. But you got to go do something interesting.
Right, exactly.
Go film the content. So he is doing it for the sake of that.
This brings up actually my next concept and framework, which is this idea that people appreciate the effort. People appreciate the effort. They disproportionately value the effort. They see the effort. They see through it. I'll give you a simple example. So, just as a personal example, like for example, when I announced the podcast to the world, very few people cared. I'll tell you why, which is fine. It's very easy to do a podcast. Anybody can put up a mic, get on a stream, and have some people and have a podcast. Everybody has a podcast. Very, very difficult to do. Yeah. Very few people are going to share the fact that there's a new podcast in the world because the stakes are low, the barriers to entry are low, right? However, And this goes back to the idea of costly signaling, which you guys know a lot about because I talk about my keynotes, which is the idea that, by putting in disproportionate effort, that actually results in greater meaning and trust and significance at the end of the day. But also people value that. People see the effort.